Welcome to the usability meeting on May the 29th, 2026. The attendees are only Gareth and myself, and we will quickly go through two issues and we'll see what the outcome will be. Um, it's up to you, Gareth, on which issue we want to take a look first. The one, once I can share my screen, then it's easier to follow along. And yeah, we are looking at the issue for today's meeting, and I've posted the two issues there. It's one is the one I've mentioned from quite one that hasn't been reviewed yet. It's issue number 3371646, add option to have default setting for providing menu link. And the other one is an issue we've already reviewed. That's issue 3023777. And it's called Datetime Range Fields Have Confusing Options for Date Type Setting. So it's your choice.
I have no preference. Let's go for the first one first, maybe.
The add options to have default settings. Okay. I have neither any preference, so totally fine. 1 second. Git branch issue branch called option default menu. Oh, no, 1 second. I'll switch back and we look at the current state first. Um, the issue is basically about if you go in here, playground, edit, and in the vertical tab menu settings, then you have basically you're able to choose in which available menus it should go and the default parent link. And if you go into playground and create basically a node of that type, then per default, provider menu link is unchecked. And if it's checked, then you're able to define the menu link. And what this merge request does, -cr is basically the following. If you go now under content type, manage, edit, then go there, you'll notice there is a checkbox called provide a menu link by default when saving new content of this type. And if you now go in here and go to playground, let's say another test and go to save, go to edit again. As you can see, that checkbox was automatically checked, and um, the title that was chosen was also applied to the menu link title accordingly, automatically. So the only tricky detail is if you go in here, I'm not sure if you were there in one of previous meetings, we went with recommending keeping basic. Oh, that is one interesting detail. Our suggestion was basically keeping that details element in the advanced sidebar collapsed, all the details. And if you know one more, oh yeah, it's updated. As you can
Yeah, that's
see
better.
here, the check, I go open simply a new one. As you can see here, the provide menu link is checked.
Yeah.
And yeah, the my only worry when I was testing it was basically how does someone who
Know
is
that
not
that's checked. How does it work? Because that's similar. Um, if you check, because we've got published and unpublished by default, and we've also got um, there is other checkbox. If you go to structure, content type, and edit the content type rather than that, we have published and unpublished and promoted to front. They are checked, and you can check and uncheck them. So this behavior follows that. If you can set whether or not these are default options. But if you uncheck promoted to front, so that by default it's yeah. Um, I'm just wondering, under is it the authoring information that has the promoted? Where's the promoted to front box?
Is it basically implied and not on the node edit form?
I thought that was something that you can check and uncheck, but have it set by default, but you can.
Oh, wait a second. Uh, Another detail, oh, not with the promoter front page, but related. If you go in here, uh, the default option is published, but I have content moderation enabled.
Okay. Yeah, maybe
And
that's
yeah, no, but there's another problem because the default option is
ignored.
published and I have draft as the default. It's a
Is draft the state rather than the.
draft is basically is a moderation state.
Mhm.
If you go in here, configuration, workflow, edit, draft, published, archived. And archived isn't shown because basically it's the creation of basically a node, and therefore it doesn't make any sense at all to have archived. But one second, I def trash PMU content moderation. Am I able? Oh no, I'm unable. Out of the box. Install content moderation. Remove moderation states. Moderation. Uninstall. Okay, and now let's try it again. Because now we have the publish checkbox, which makes
Yep.
sense.
Well, where's the promote to front?
Yeah, that I'm searching right now. No, it's still not there.
Have you switched it off in form display? It's there, but if you go to manage form display, you got promoted to front and sticky at
Oh,
top. They're hidden.
why is that there?
Mm.
That was basically the default settings.
Yep. So in a similar way, when that's collapsed, if you click sticky at top, does it give you the preview? Yeah, it gives you sticky at top and promoted. So if the default is to have it sticky at top and promoted, it will give you a visual indication there that that is the default. However, if you have menu settings checked as the default, it doesn't give you a visual indication that it will create a menu item until you actually put a title in.
Yeah, exactly. But still, there's a problem
So if
that,
if
that
you were okay,
if you give basically now, if it enters something, you see test, you see that, but
yeah,
still, that is only a visual cue for someone with a screen reader without that visual context that goes unnoticed.
yeah,
But like also on the other way around, if you basically now, okay, it's emptied again, but still, if you one more test, if you type that in, 1 second,
VoiceOver on Safari. Create playground vertical line rush site install window. One more test insertion at end of
are you able to hear voiceover?
I can hear it. Yes.
Okay, but
test.
the problem I see is
Title star. Edit text. Required invalid data. Add
one more
more. A
test.
at T. Test.
If you would
You are
announce basically that basically what you're entering is getting announced, but then having an announcement for basically that something is happening within the
Mhm.
sidebar underneath menu settings
menus
in
menu
there.
settings. One more test.
Um,
Yeah. What would be ideal is if it typed the test and said menu settings also updated.
yeah, something
But
like that.
yeah. But and the other thing that might be quite nice there is, although it's showing one more test, it might be quite good to actually have the menu parent
One more
link.
test.
1 second, I have to
Menu
switch
set
off.
voiceover off.
It's too chatty. Again, please. And oh, and one for the record, Kenter also joined the meeting. Hi.
Yeah, I was just saying that perhaps it might also be quite nice if the parent link was displayed so you knew which parent navigation item the menu is being added to, but that might clutter things. At the moment, it just when it's collapsed, it just says one more test.
Yep. But
But I guess the visual cue is at least it's showing you that there is a menu item being set, and if you want more details, you can open that.
yeah, but the point is basically there can't be more than one menu item, and therefore you would have the screen real estate, and therefore, strictly speaking, you could use the menu link title as well as the parent link, for example.
Yeah, parent link menu item.
Yeah, but I, strictly speaking, probably out of the scope for this issue, because
Yeah, absolutely.
this would also apply in general to that
Mhm.
advanced sidebar. So, um, that would definitely be something for a follow-up. But within the scope for this issue, still, yeah, the problem, that one.
When that's closed and the that's closed, it's not actually indicating that a menu item will be generated because that's the same, not in menu, is the same display you get when that box is unchecked. Is that correct?
Yeah, 1 second, for comparison. Um, 1 second. Just for context for Kent, we are looking at issue number, and I'm not sure if your audio is working on our end. Nothing arrives. In the chat, it's I post the issue in the chat. And what we are looking at is basically that issue, and it is introducing over here on the menu settings, the following checkbox, provide a menu link by default when saving new content of this type. And if that is checked, it is basically oh, wait a second. Right before we had the behavior with the functionality switched off. Oh, wait a second.
Yeah, I think you switched it off there.
So wait a second. If it's switched off, then you get the feedback not in menu.
Which is the same feedback you get if it's checked, but you haven't put a title in yet.
No, then it's just empty.
But there's no visual indication that it will be filled
Nope.
or that the menu is on.
It's just empty.
Oh,
Nothing.
oh, it's just empty. Okay.
Okay. And Kent said he's just listening and no audio. Okay.
I think that empty is maybe an issue.
Yep. At least
It,
for
it should have,
non-sighted users.
yeah, and it should probably have some kind of indication that the menu item link is required, even though it will automatically take the title, won't it?
But I think that is required isn't an issue because the title is required, so it has to be filled out anyway, so it won't remain empty. The only problem I definitely see is if someone doesn't have the visual context and then you write one more test, a sighted user sees, okay, something is happening there, and goes in there and sees, okay, menu link, description is missing, parent link is main navigation, and weight is 0. But for someone without the visual context and also not knowing that, for example, under edit menu settings, this checkbox is checked, then that person maybe will only under the title, range, and select and fill out those things and nothing else.
Mhm. But I think if you take out one more test, the fact that there's no text there, there's no indication that that menu will be filled out at all. So if you scanned this and you weren't aware, if you were on a mobile, for example, that left-hand box is going to scroll down underneath.
1 second.
And it's going to be difficult to kind of scan quickly up and down. Okay, I've got one field that is required.
Yeah, but still,
Mm,
for
that's,
sighted users or mobile users, I also don't consider it such a pressing issue because still the title field is required, and therefore, and if someone gets to that node edit form and sees title and edit something, then basically you get at a later point, if you basically
mhm,
filled out the node edit form, go down here, check the advanced sidebar and see, okay, oh, my menu settings are already set
mhm.
automatically. And you see, okay, oh, maybe I need a description for the auto link, for example, and you change it to underneath test and wait, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a hill I'm willing to defend. I just thought it might have been nice to have a visual cue that that will be filled in somehow.
Yeah, well,
Or at least in having the opposite from the original text, which is not in menu. Even if it says until it's automatically filled in, it'll say menu item to be generated or something like that. I'm not sure what the text would be. Like I said,
maybe.
it's I'm not gonna debate. I'm not gonna fight this one. I think it seems to work well.
Yeah. Mm,
And I agree that the automatic text kind of then gives you at least an indication that it's
yeah.
going to be filled in.
One possible counterpart to not in menu could be menu item pending, something like that.
Yeah,
But
that then gets replaced by the menu item.
yeah, but still, the more pressing one from my perspective is that provide a announcement that
Yeah,
basically a menu link title or menu item got provided now or something like that. Or got filled in as the menu or
yeah,
or used for menu link title as well or something like that.
yeah.
Yeah. But per se, the functionality is useful.
Yeah, I think so. I like it because it then matches the behavior of the sticky and the auto published. You can set the default.
Yeah. The only question I would ask, if it's okay also to Kent, what do you two think? Is the position for the checkbox the right one? Or should it go under publishing options as well?
It makes sense to me to have it together because the display settings, for example, has a checkbox. And that's just, regarding the author stuff. So I think keeping the menu together with the menu settings makes
Yeah,
sense. And it makes sense in that position as well because it differentiates it from the available menus, breaks that up.
yeah. So from your point of view, that is
I,
also good down
I
here.
think this is good. Yeah, this bit's fine for me.
And the microcopy, provide a menu link by default when saving new content of this type.
Um, what what's the default copy for the publishing options? Is it? Mm. And display settings, has that got different microcopy? So it's leaning heavier on the the field description for those two, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
What does the menu say? It might get away with provide a menu link by default. Might be enough for the microcopy there, and then have in a similar way to the published options as a description that says users with sufficient rights will be able to override this. But again, it's not a strong feeling. So this copy here is quite, it doesn't give that verbose, promoted to top to front page for content of this type.
Yeah.
That seems to be implied there. Provide a menu link by default might be sufficient.
Strictly speaking, I would.
You would maybe fix that one.
No, I would basically go with exactly the same label, because if you take a look at display settings and publishing options, all those checkbox labels are a one-to-one
Yeah.
mirror of what is on the node edit page.
But
While
then you might need to have a title above that default option.
no, what? No, why? Simply
But
use provide a menu link, and then in the description, per default, when saving a new content type, a menu link is created.
if you look at the publishing options, they've got default options is a mini title there, and then it's got published.
Ah,
So I'm thinking default, that's got no default, but that's got default options, default language. Maybe in the menu settings, you can have, um, you've got default parent link, default, uh,
yeah, yeah.
default option, and then you're right, provide a menu link.
Default option. Yeah, default option is probably good. Uh,
Unless you make the default parent link more generic, um, or have the provide a menu link, and then the default navigation kind of is almost the two of those items are under the default options there.
Alright, parent link. Default. Hmm. That is a tricky one. Strictly speaking, available menus and default parent link are under one umbrella, because with
Mhm.
that you define what is available underneath in here in that select list. As you can
Yep.
see, content, I have content, footer, and so forth. And that way, those two.
Yeah.
Hmm,
hmm
hmm.
So while I said that maybe default option needs to be the top with provide a menu link as a checkbox, and then available menus, and then
Yeah. Strictly speaking, the order should also mimic
this
uh,
order. Yeah,
the order in here. And there, the
absolutely.
provide menu link is the first. Then you have basically uh, the available menus and then the parent link.
Yep, agreed.
So strictly speaking, recommendation might the default option, default menus. Strictly speaking, as you can see here, is it is also inconsistent. In here, you have web publishing options is the label of the vertical tab, which has here the default options title. In here, you have language settings. Then you have here the default language instead of settings. That one has no title at all. And in here has also no title at all, while in here you have available menus and default parent link. But in general, for that vertical tab, different order, first checkbox, then checkbox list, and then select as the order. Headings is debatable, and for that first checkbox, basically use the same label as on the node edit form and use a description for default and so on. Definitely would say we revisit this issue for the wordsmithing part and for the consistency with the other vertical tabs. And yeah, the other point is definitely the question about how to announce that something's happening in menu settings for screen readers.
I thought you'd tweak that in the I thought automatically. I like that. That works. Automatically works. But it's because you've taken it from the title. But to be fair, you could probably screenshot that and put node :space automatically generated, and that would be perfect. And then you could screenshot menu settings. Sorry, node. No, main, because that's the menu item, isn't it?
Yeah. Menu link title automatically generated. But it's lengthy.
It is lengthy, yeah. And we were toying with
But wait a second, but simply automatically generated?
yeah. But then we were gonna request perhaps having a visual cue of which menu it was going to be added to.
That's it. That's a follow-up, basically.
It is, yeah.
Up, add parent link. And announcement in screen reader. That a menu was auto created. A menu item title. Yeah, but that order is definitely the other way around, more clear. Any final thoughts or additions for that? And just one brief If you have 2 minutes more, I just quickly wanted to demonstrate for the other issue, the announcement in VoiceOver in Safari. It's just wild.
Okay. Yeah, I've got time, so I'm cool for hanging on.
Daytime range. Git branch. Git checkout. CR. And let the fun begin. Content type. Manage fields. Create new field. Daytime range. Another range. Continue. And I'll switch on.
VoiceOver on Safari. Manage fields vertical line rush site install. Another range unselected. Range menu. 3 items checkmark date and time. Closing menu. Another allowed number of values. Limited allowed number of values. Allowed number of values. Pop-up button limit. 1 insertion at beginning of text. Limit. Incrementable number field group. Menu. 3 items checkmark date only. Closing all day date stored as a full day range in the current user's time zone from midnight to all day date. Menu. 3 items checkmark all day date and time date field storage. These settings apply to the another range field everywhere it is used. Some also impact the way that data is stored and cannot be changed once data has been created. Date type date and time stored as menu. 3 item date only. Closing menu. Date only. Date type. Stored as UTC date and time values. Example, 2026-05-09:44:002, 2026-05-09T20:44:00. Dimmed pop-up button.
And for example, dimmed is also not correct because it's not disabled.
Menu 3 all day. Closing menu all day. Date type. Stored as calendar dates only, without time or time zone information. Example, May 9th, 2026 to May 10th, 2026. Dimmed pop-up but Firefox Developer Edition shell text restored content Firefox develop in manage field link skip to main content. EFFIMAGPFFFI.Twitch. Watch anonymously and download Instagram stories online web content. EFFIMAGPFFFI.bullet 8 date time range. To DF. You are currently on a link. Field storage. Menu 3 items checkmark date and time date only. Closing menu visited link Insta Stories viewer.
Huh?
Insertion on field storage group. Menu 3 items checkmark date only. Closing menu field storage group. You are currently on a link inside of web content. To click this link, press Control Option Space to exit the insertion at end of text. Label star required edit text.
1 second. No, this one is also behaving totally off.
Label star required edit text. Label asterisk 1 more insertion at beginning of text. Label star required edit text field storage group help text 14 more items group. Menu 3 items checkmark date and time date only. Closing menu.
Okay.
Change field type but voiceover off.
No idea what was going wrong here right now. Before the meeting, I've tested it, and there, basically in Firefox and Edge, everything was behaving correctly. No matter if I've changed it with via mouse cursor or via the keyboard. But now also Firefox behaved off. No idea. Anyway, I will write a brief summary for today's discussion.
Thank you.
And yeah, maybe we'll revisit this issue next week.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
So yeah, thank you for coming.
Thank you
And
very much.
hopefully we'll see next week again. So have a relaxed weekend and hopefully not that hot like over here.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Cheerio.